Welcome to The Sound, KQAL FM's weekly behind-the-scenes look at Midwestern-made music. From writing and recording to distribution and promotion, The Sound is your source for new releases and exclusive interviews from Midwestern artists. Support for The Sound is made possible by a grant from the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Rolling. Tonight on The Sound, we bring you a little band that's making a big impression on folks lately, Charlieboy. Springing up out of La Crosse, Wisconsin, Charlieboy has a growing following, and their latest album, People Garden, is sure to grow on you. Indie, pop, rock, Bjork, rock, paper, scissors? What? Their bio says that Jake thinks they're weird, and Mom thinks they're rock stars. Either way, we think you're gonna love this album. We sure do. I'm Bill Stoneberg, and like I said, it'll grow on you. So plant your butt down somewhere comfy and get ready to experience People Garden, the latest album by Charlieboy, tonight on The Sound.
That was Grod, the single from La Crosse-based band Charlieboy. This is their newest album called People Garden, which came out at the end of October. How are y'all doing tonight? Very good. It is an honor to have you all in studio tonight. This new album is absolutely killer. I believe it's your first studio album, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Can you take me back to when Charlieboy first started and how this project got its start?
Probably like around 2019, 2018.
Our lineage is a bit confusing because Keegan and I have been playing together for a while, probably since like 2017, under just a multitude of random project names and stuff. But I'd say Charlieboy began in like 2020. beginning?
Yeah,
2020?
I'd say.
Very
like,
beginning?
Right around when we moved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so relatively new still then. So
Yeah, pretty new. And especially our current group, because we found our drummer boy, Owen, in the summer of 2021. So that's
wow.
when our sound really came together. That's when we were able to piece together our first like home recorded EP, More Flora. So
More Flora is absolutely phenomenal. So I was super glad when I first saw People Garden come out because I believe it was actually Jaden that sent it to me. It was amazing, and I listened to it, and I was like, So how did you all meet, like the entire band as a group? I know you said you met the drummer in 2021, but like in general, how did you guys meet? Where's the origin story there?
Well, we kind of, like, we met as kids, technically.
Okay.
Like, I was like 10, I think. But then we, like, actually, like, met in, like, 2018.
2017, yeah. 2017 is when.
Well, I kind of
parents.
re-met, like, her dad. And then that was kind of just, like, a bridge to,
My
like,
dad
start a band.
books music and stuff, and he plays music, so they were working together, and I was like, hey, I know you from childhood, and then I joined his band.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then from there, we had a revolving door of just, like, people we were playing with for a while up until, like, we moved to Florida.
Okay.
In, like, 2020. Very beginning of 2020, and then so Charlieboy was us, like, recording, like, demos at home, writing songs, and then, like, playing out occasionally as a duo. And her dad's friend's son is Owen.
Yes.
That was a lead that we were given as we were moving back to Wisconsin. Like, hey, I know a drummer. So, like, for the few months leading into us moving back, we sent him our demos. Like, we recorded these songs. You think you can learn them? And he did. And
He was on our doorstep when we pulled up in our U-Haul. So he was eager.
That is awesome. That is a super cool origin story. Could you give the listeners a quick overview of who's who in the band?
Sure, yeah. I'm Kaya. I sing, and I play a little guitar sometimes and write.
And I'm Keegan. We also have Owen and Sam. Owen is the drummer, and Sam is our bass player.
Awesome.
I guess I play guitar. Forgot that.
Yes.
Cool. Did you guys ever dream of being musicians when you grew up? I know you mentioned a little bit, like, your father is a musician and, like, a booker. Did you guys, like, ever think that you guys were going to play music when you grew up?
I definitely did, yeah. I was just very connected to music my whole life, and when I was able to start like playing live with my dad, I'd take those opportunities, and I sang on stage with him, did covers and stuff like that for like most of my childhood. I'd say my musical independence really started when I met Keegan and when I started playing with his band, because it was more like, you know, kind of branching out to my own project. So yeah, I definitely knew I was going to be a musician probably my whole life.
I wanted to as a kid. I never thought, like, that's obtainable until, like, I really started, like, pursuing an instrument, like guitar. Once I started getting, like, decent with it and meeting other people around me that could play better than me, it's like, okay, we can start doing this. And then very shortly after, like, I met Kaya, and I think we're all filled in now. That's the tale.
That's super cool. That is awesome. I love hearing a good origin story and, like, people's inspiration going into the music. You're about to hear another melodic track from Charlieboy's album People Garden here on 89.5 KQAL. You're listening to The Sound.
Left our own party through the window.
was Oh Yeah. This tune is another melodic track with some very mellow guitar behind it. What's the inspiration behind this sound on this track and all the tracks on this album?
I guess like the sound being like the general like feel of things. It's kind of just our tone at the moment.
Yeah.
Really. The album was fairly raw, all things considered. Like we just have like our pedals and our drum kit and whatnot, and
The stuff we actually use when we perform live. So yeah, our tone is pretty, I'd say, authentic to our live sound. And each song, from the beginning of the album to the end, have written them at different times in our musical careers, like Grodd dating back to like when Keegan and I just first got acquainted with each other in 2017. So they each have like a very specific maybe vibe or tone to them, but we just thought maybe they'd work together in a culmination.
I think Hippocampus definitely had an influence, like kind of like a blanket influence over the band since we started like playing together. Like South was like the first cover that we'd be playing.
Yeah, a lot of Hippocampus
like,
covers.
Yeah, I think their tone and their approach to especially their album Landmark was
an inspiration for sure. Yeah, I'd agree.
I think that's the only one that I can think of.
And also we each have our own specific preference in genre, and I think having a bunch of different musicians with different musical backgrounds and preferences will make unique sounds. So we try and stick to what we prefer.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know you mentioned Hippocampus. They're a phenomenal band. I love their sound. They have a very refined and like just beautiful sound, and I love the way they sound. I think that's a lot of the inspiration behind why we enjoy your music so much here.
Thank you.
It kind of adds up in my brain a little bit. So you mentioned a little bit of genres. You mentioned a little bit of Hippocampus, and you mentioned how each of you guys kind of have your own genre that you had to pinpoint that you guys like enjoy. What would those genres be? Like, if you had to choose your favorite genre or your genre you love the most, this is a really hard question. What do you think it would be?
You go first, and I'll speak for myself, and probably also let them know some of Sam's preferences because he's a preferenced man.
Yeah. At the moment, wow, I don't know if I could tell you now even, but like as far as influences go, I listened to a lot of like My Chemical Romance.
Okay.
While I started playing guitar, so just like overdriven octave chords and whatnot were like, you hear a lot of those on the album, just like kind of peppered in, and like each time like I hear it, it's like, oh yeah that makes sense, pop punk and whatnot. But it kind of evolved into more like bands like Pup.
Okay.
That like side of pop punk was more like appealing as like I think my music preferences matured. So for me, I would just say like rock.
Rock,
Yeah.
Punk rock. I'd say growing up, I listened. 1975 all the way for sure.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Growing up, I was a real big fan of like Amy Winehouse, Beyonce, like what's another good example? Sia is fucking incredible. So sorry if I'm not supposed to do that. But yeah, like just really impressive, like belting vocalists.
Yep.
I loved that growing up, and even though I could not do that, I would try my best, which probably, helped me stay motivated to keep doing it, because hearing myself back and being like, wow, it's nice to hear improvements after a little while. But I listen to a lot of different genres, and my dad plays like kind of like folk Americana, stuff like that, so I was really into that kind of stuff. And I was really into pop punk too. I'd say similar genres to what Keegan was talking about, and like Paramore was a big one for me, so stuff like that.
I think the Beatles also just like applies across
totally,
like most of the bandmates, if not all of us.
Yeah, in the way that I'd say Hippocampus is kind of like a nice deep-rooted inspiration. The Beatles are as well, because I just look up to them.
We all grew up listening to them.
And we grew up listening to them, yeah. And as for Sam, he is a big jazz man. He's a big funk man. He likes a lot of different stuff though.
I was gonna say just good music
Just
is
good
what
music.
he would.
Good music.
That's how he'd put it.
Yeah, bebop. He will scat any bebop song, note for note. I'm trying to think of other
wish
ways
he
to
was
explain
here. Oh my
it.
God.
Yeah, wish he could have made it because he would have loved this question. But he likes a lot of genres, and I think his jazz influence is really great in our band. He's an awesome bass player. He's good bass influences. So
That's awesome. I feel like there's a weird pipeline between like punk and pop punk, and like correlating into a little bit of indie and like alternative sounds. Like I feel like, at least for me, as I've matured, my listening has definitely gone from that when I was like a teenager to when I was younger to now more listening to more mellow stuff. So it's really interesting to hear. And I can definitely see a little bit of undertones of that in the music, especially like in the My Chemical Romance reference. I can see a little bit of inspiration in that in this album. So you're about to hear another song from their album, People Garden. This song is Pink. That was Pink from Charlieboy's new album, People Garden. That song starts off with a very mellow guitar riff and slow drums in the background, and then it develops into like this gorgeous melody on top with amazing vocals. Can you take me behind the creative process of that song?
Thank you. We wrote that in about 2018, I'd say. And it started off as like a jam at practice. Keegan was fiddling around. Our old bassist, Noah, was bassing around. And our old drummer, who was just a friend of ours, Brett, they were kind of just jamming around. And I was doing some melodic stuff on top, just kind of like participating, you know, like, and then I just kind of like pieced together that maybe I could use this like little poem that I wrote on a receipt like a few days before. So I pulled it out, and it was just like a little poem that I wrote about my relationship and with Keegan here. And it was just kind of like pieced together. After that, I kind of just sang it over top, and we're like, oh, nice, that could be something. And then we decided to like start actually working on it and putting the formula together and all that. But yeah, at first it was just kind of like a jam that I kind of just threw my poem over top of.
That's super cool. Do you do a majority of the writing for Charlieboy?
I would not say that. I would say I do maybe like half the writing.
Okay.
Keegan does the other half of like lyricism and a lot of the framework for the songs, a lot of the structuring. So I'd say he'd probably be the majority writer of the group.
Awesome. We will dive more in depth into the rest of this album, but for now, here's another tune from the album. This is Sinclair.
December
that was Sinclair. You just heard here on 89.5 KQAL. You are listening to The Sound, and we are live here in studio with Charlieboy today. Take us behind the curtain, if you will, with this album. What would you say the lyrics in this track mean to you as songwriters and performers?
In Sinclair?
In Sinclair.
I guess as a performer, it doesn't, like, the lyrics don't really always sit with me while I'm playing. It's like a whole separate, like, I'm vibing with the rest of the band, you know, not necessarily listening, but the lyrics themselves, like, when just listening, it's just sad to me, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, satisfying that, like, we were able to write that song into existence. Like, it's like a therapy song, I think.
I would say a lot of this album is therapy music to me also, just because obviously I know what I wrote my parts about, you know, I know where I'm coming from, and I know just because I'm so close with the rest of the band, like I know where they're coming from, and I know the connections that we have to them. So yeah, sometimes listening to them and like hearing the lyrics and remembering where some of those moments came from, it's totally therapeutic and deep.
So you mentioned like it being a little bit therapeutic to you. Would you say that's an underlying theme like throughout the whole album?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think getting through stuff or growing up in general, like it was like the songs from start to finish kind of encompass like us being 16 to 20. So it's just,
it's about growing up. It's about the pivotal years and trying to figure out who you are and stuff, and trying to figure out who we are.
The title People Garden itself was initially
cute.
That was great. Yeah. First off, Kaya's little brother must have been what, like 7?
Yeah.
I don't know. Not really that important, but he referred to a cemetery as a people garden, which was just like profound of you, little guy. That was deep.
Yeah, we knew we
just kind of held on to that phrase. Yeah, I don't know, like, I'm not sure what this is for, but definitely gonna like refer back to this like as a song or something. And her dad then said that like it's works on 2 levels, because it's like a positive outlook on like a cemetery by calling it, referring to it as a garden, and then it's also like people growing, like people garden. Like, okay, well that fits.
Maybe this is a people garden. Maybe we're all just little flowers. We're figuring out how to grow. And we've realized that all of the songs besides the 3 that are on More Flora that aren't on this one, we realized they're the culmination of our music since we've started writing together. Grod was the first song that we performed together that we wrote, and Oh Yeah was the very last song. We literally finished it up in the studio at Blast House working on this album. So it was like, this is literally our garden here. This is the culmination of our musical growth, and so it just felt like kismet to use it. Yeah.
We realized after we wanted those 2 songs, Oh Yeah and Grod, to like we wanted them to be our singles, and then after that decision was made, we realized that it's our first and last song, which is just like meant to be. I guess.
Mind blower.
That's super awesome. I always love hearing that about albums and how like specifically the names came to be, because I feel like artists don't share that often unless you specifically ask them. So that's super cool. And I love that name. It's kind of like a double entendre. Like there's 2 different meanings to it.
Exactly.
You can interpret it how you will.
Thank you.
You're about to hear Curmudgeon from Charlieboy's new album, People Garden, here on 89.5 KQAL, your radio alternative.
On the top of the stairs, listening violin, far from the truth, so sincere, like I even didn't care. You were beside me. It's all I can lose. We are dancing, but here and now, nobody knows. In the dark, we are dancing, but here and now, nobody knows.
You just heard Curmudgeon. Personally, it's one of my favorite tracks from the album. This tune has some somber tones behind it with a little bit of upbeat sound. I have to ask, who does the writing for y'all? You mentioned a little bit, it's a little bit of you, and then also Keegan, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess depends on the song. Like sometimes it is like Pink is just 2 chords the entire time. It's like jun, 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 jun. All right, taking that to practice, and then we just play that and kind of mush it up, and Kaya came in with the lyrics and it just all gelled. That's like an instance, but like each song is it's special or different, or some of them, like Nomenclature was a really frustrating one. That one took over a year to develop, whereas like some of our other songs took a day. Like Pink, like we played it, she sang it, and we're like, all right, that's the song. But
Nomenclature we played live as an instrumental for almost a year. And then I was like working on the lyrics, and it was just a really tough one for me. And I'm honestly still probably not satisfied with it and would have changed things. But I guess that's the point, is that you can never just be fully satisfied with what you made, you know, got to keep growing. But yeah, for Curmudgeon specifically, that was, I'd say, like pretty much all Keegan. He had a formula, he had the lyrics, and he came to us like, here's a song, and we just kind of made it happen.
Awesome. If you could you walk me through like that process of start to finish of like developing a Charlieboy track? Like, I know you mentioned a little bit of it's like, oh, they brought us melody, or oh, we were jamming at practice and it kind of developed. Mm-hmm. Is that a lot of the way the tracks develop, or would you say there's other ways that they develop?
When we started, it was mostly like the songs were more simple at the time. Like all of our like first go at things they're usually like quite vanilla, like with just room, and we'll start there and probably track it, make a demo, and then we listen to the demo and we kind of pick out sections like this is kind of weird or this is not weird. Let's go back and we do another demo, and then we'll overdub things like at home. We'll just like record an extra guitar, and sometimes there'll be like 5 guitar tracks, and we try to take like the best 2, best 3, or there's like ways to like how can I play both of these at the same time, and it just like a lot of melodies and a lot of things come in post. Like we'll start with just a basic song,
Yeah, the bones.
and then we just like sit on it, and then when we feel inspired then work on it. It's not really forced. Every time we've tried to force like writing a song or making it happen, it just comes out like not satisfying.
I would say a good amount of them started with like Keegan coming in with a riff, and then that riff turns into a jam, and then we're like, oh, what else came from that jam, and then we pick those pieces apart and then throw stuff on top. Yeah.
But a lot of behind the scenes work, like if there's no structure, like if we have no idea after the initial jam, then that's the initial jam is just the song. Like we have to sit on it and then come like, all right, so this is how it's going to be, because we're all pretty relaxed about things. So there's just got to be like the definitive change. Like this is the new part of it.
I'd say there has been a good handful of times where we've jammed something and we're like, oh, that was good. That could be a song. Let's try and remember that. And maybe we got a demo for it even. But then when we kept trying to push it, it was just kind of like, this is just getting worse and worse. And we're just adding sections that are unnecessary or whatever. And what we needed was to just put it away for a little while. Maybe just listen to the demo in our car and not even talk about it, and then a month later we're like, hey, let's jam that thing again, and then we can actually kind of get back to it. We're sitting on a lot of demos right now, which is great, but there's like a good amount of them like, okay, let's work on these. I like these. I want them to be songs, but I agree, we can't force them. We gotta just kind of wait until we're all knowing what we want to do to them.
And we do all live like far away from each other at the moment, with Owen living in Baraboo and the two of us in La Crosse. It's like,
rough.
Yeah, our practice time is slim. So, or I guess our rehearsal time is slim and our practice time is our gigs.
Yeah, right. Our writing time is the slimmest right now.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I know you mentioned a little bit about the guitar and how tracks kind of develop on top of that. I will say on this album, something I noted while listening through it was that there is some gorgeous guitar melodies throughout all of it.
Thank you.
So I want to touch on that a little bit. Could you take me behind a little bit of the recording process on this album? Do you guys like record at home, or do you guys record in a studio?
For demos and stuff, we'll record at home. We just set up our mixer, run in-ears, and then mic everything. Those are our demos. But then for more Flora, we went to like a family friend's home studio, which is we all just played live in a room, and then we added stuff over and cut it up and whatnot. But this last album, People Garden, we went to Madison Blast House Studios, and their engineer Landon worked with us for like a week straight. We went in like the first 2 days were 10-hour days.
Yeah.
I think I think it was 10
hour, 5, 5, 10.
Something like that.
5. That's what it was.
So we
like
came in and we went into like their live room, and we played like song. Well, I think our first song was Tap Happy. Was that the first one we played?
Yeah, we did the two that
Tap
were
Happy or
instrumentals
9?
first. I think it was Tap Happy.
Well, we tracked them all in the room, much like More Flora, except like our guitar amps were in like ISO rooms. But we were all just there. We played. We listened back through the headphones, like if we needed to, then and there. Otherwise, we would just go back into the control room and we'd play through with a notepad, and we would just timestamp all of the errors, or if we thought like the bones just weren't keepable, we'd go back out and re-record. Like just take a whole separate take at it, and like everything from drums to guitar, we would just start with drums actually, and then bass, guitars, and then once like that was at least, you know, like passable for the moment, like we're like, okay, we can come back for certain things, but sounds good, then Kaya would come in and record like just a day of vocals. I think it was like day 3 or day 4.
Yeah, after we got like the bones for all of the instruments on the album, then we did have a vocals day, and I just went through and did like most of the songs, and then the next day finished them up.
I think you finished writing Oh Yeah
I
on the
finished
second
writing
day of
Oh Yeah.
vocals.
Yeah, seriously, like one of the last days in the studio I actually finished that song. It was mostly just like just little like melodies and whatever. And then we actually did end up going back to the studio. So we recorded in January. That week was in January, and it was great because every day we got to just like focus on that. We weren't doing anything else. We weren't like working. We went into the studio. We spent the day recording. We took our notes, and then we listened to the CD that we got on the way home, and then we spent the night thinking about what we wanted to fix the next day. We went in, fixed it, did the whole thing over again for the whole week. It was like a great process. But then there was just like a few things about nomenclature that we were not happy with, a couple things we wanted to add into Pink and Trash Can, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so,
the whole like tapping section.
Right, Keegan's tapping section almost wasn't in there, which is nuts. It's beautiful. But so in May of 2023, we went back in for one more session, like a 5-hour, like half-day session, and just kind of like knocked out all the stuff that we realized over the past few months we weren't happy with, which was really great to have. I think it was necessary to have that chunk of time in between to like take a step back from the project, but it was a really cool process. And Landon, the person who helped us, who recorded it and who mastered it and everything, he did phenomenal, and he put a spin to our music that we were told that he could do great things, but hearing it was like another story. He did a great job.
We've never heard ourselves like at such a caliber. It was like felt like we're doing it, you know.
I was honored. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. It's really cool to go behind on the recording aspect of things. I feel like artists don't really often talk about that. They'll showcase maybe a little bit of them in the studio, but they don't really dive in depth about like, all right, this day we did this day we did this. So it's super cool to hear that. And it's kind of cool learning about the jam session you guys kind of had while recording. So that's awesome. And a little dive deep into the tracks, if you'll say a little bit. So you guys, like, this album came out end of October, like the 20th, I believe.
Yeah.
And it seems to be taking off a little bit. I mean, at least over here, we've been listening to it once we received it. We've been pushing it on our station and on our air.
So much.
People seem to be loving your tracks. And you guys, in the spring, played Midwest Music Fest in Winona, spring of 2023. And then you guys most recently played Midwest Music Fest in La Crosse in fall of 2023. What's next in the world of Charlieboy? What's going on from here? You guys got any big plans?
Oh, I guess short term, we have vinyl on the way.
Awesome.
That's super exciting. We have 200 blue records coming.
People Garden vinyl, our first vinyl.
But I guess looking forward, just booking it up, you know, getting good shows. We're trying to put together a tour. I guess we're in the talks of putting together our first tour in June.
On it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's when our drummer graduates, so it's just the most. Yeah, it's the most efficient time, I think.
Yeah.
But that gives us plenty of time to, I guess,
We have a list of
sharpen up the demos that we got for
communications and stuff.
our next album. Not that we're in any form of rush for that, but I guess that's just what we got going on.
Yeah. And what else? We have a couple festivals coming up next. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say anything yet because there's no promo online. But
Understood.
we have a couple cool festivals coming up next year that I'm excited about. And we're looking to book ourselves a tour, hopefully. For the most part, just writing.
Where can people listen to Charlieboy?
Anywhere, all streaming platforms.
Yeah, really.
Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music.
Bandcamp.
Bandcamp. SoundCloud.
Deezer.
Really?
I don't
I don't know
know.
what that is.
On CD Baby, it shows us all of our streaming stuff,
Well, then,
and I think
yeah,
Deezer is
Deezer.
one of them.
Okay.
Awesome. Do you guys have any merch out? I know you're mentioning the vinyls. Where can people go and purchase that stuff?
We're, I guess, dropping our first real merch store, like, as soon as the records come in. We have CDs. We have, like, the CDs already, and then various shirts and
Hoodies, stickers.
the works.
We bring our merch to like every live show we play, so that's definitely the easiest way to get merch is to come see us play. But yes, we will be making our online merch store once we have vinyls.
Awesome. And where can people find out about your upcoming shows?
www.charlieboy.band. There's an events tab on there. We're pretty current for the things that we can post about. Otherwise, Instagram, Facebook, if you're cool with like digging through and seeing what's going on.
For our promo posters and stuff, we post, pretty frequently about what's coming up next, and just what we're doing. So, yeah, one of those two places. I'd say honestly, our Instagram is probably the easiest spot to see that stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on and chatting with us tonight about your album, People Garden. It was phenomenal having you guys in studio today. And it's been a pleasure speaking with you all. Looking forward to see what you guys accomplish in the future. You guys definitely have a bright future ahead of you. And here at KQAL, we're super excited to see where we go from there.
Thank you
Thank
very
you so much.
Appreciate
Thanks for
that.
having us.
Yeah. You're about to hear Trash Can by Charlieboy here on 89.5 KQAL. You're listening to The Sound.
Sitting in a fishbowl at his foot and lose control. His first time in human size, taking turns to sit and cry.
thanks again to Charlieboy for joining us tonight on The Sound. To hear more from Charlieboy, check them out at charlieboy.band. For more deep dives into local and regional albums, tune into The Sound every Wednesday night at 6 right here on 89.5 KQAL. You can also listen to past episodes of The Sound on your favorite streaming services. Find links at kqal.org. I'm Bill Stoneberg, and we just took a little stroll through People Garden, the latest album by Charlieboy on The Sound. Thanks for listening to The Sound. The Sound is produced by KQAL-FM on the campus of Winona State University. Visit us online at kqal.org. Theme music for The Sound provided by Mike Terrell of Fires of Denmark.